Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that's often overlooked in our pursuit of success. We focus so much on what we need to do, but there's something more powerful to consider. Sometimes success is not just about what we do, it's about what we don't do. There are habits that, if left unchecked, will sabotage your potential. Successful people understand this deeply, and today I'm going to share 5 habits that they avoid at all costs. These aren't things they do, but rather things they choose not to do, because they know how destructive they can be. Procrastination is an invisible force that stands in the way of every dream we want to pursue. We often think of procrastination as a minor delay, as a harmless indulgence, but in reality it is the thief of our time, our potential, and our future. It promises us comfort in the moment, but steals from us every opportunity for growth, every chance to create something meaningful. We all fall into its trap at times, waiting for the right conditions, for the perfect moment, or for some sign that the world is aligned in our favor. But the truth is that moment rarely comes. And when it does, it often comes too late. Let's take Elon Musk as an example. Not because he's perfect, but because his journey encapsulates the very essence of overcoming procrastination. Musk didn't wait for a flawless plan to launch SpaceX or Tesla. He didn't wait for the right time. He made it the right time. There were countless moments when it seemed like everything was against him. The early rocket failures, the financial crises, the doubters. But instead of postponing his dream, he pushed forward. He understood something critical. Every moment spent waiting is a moment lost. And so he took action, even when he wasn't sure it would work out. Musk's story is not just about being bold or reckless. It's about understanding that the fear of failure is far less damaging than the regret of never trying. Successful people recognize this fundamental truth. It's not about waiting for everything to align perfectly. It's about making each moment an opportunity for progress, even if that means stepping into the unknown. Even if the path is unclear. Every second that passes while you hesitate is a second that someone else is moving forward. Procrastination feeds on fear. It convinces us that we need more time, more resources, more confidence to act. But what it's really doing is holding us hostage. When we delay, we convince ourselves that we can't act until we have it all figured out. But action is the antidote to that fear. The successful don't wait for fear to subside before they move. They move despite it. They embrace uncertainty because they understand that hesitation does nothing to resolve their fears. It only compounds them. Think about the moments in your own life when you've waited too long, when you've put off starting something because you thought the conditions weren't right. Perhaps it was a dream job, a business idea, or even a relationship. How often do we find ourselves months or years later looking back and regretting that we didn't start sooner? Successful people don't allow procrastination to steal that time from them. They recognize that the best way to conquer fear is to act, to start, even if they're not sure they have everything they need. Because in the act of starting, they create their own momentum, their own clarity. Procrastination doesn't just delay action, it robs us of our future. Every minute we spend waiting, hesitating, is a minute that could have been used to make progress. The successful understand that time is precious, and they refuse to let it slip away. They act in the face of uncertainty. They push through fear, and they never let the perfect moment become the enemy of the good one. Because the perfect moment never comes, it's created by the courage to act. And when you act, no matter how small, you're already ahead of the game. Complaining is a seductive habit. One that creeps into our lives when things don't go as planned. It's easy to fall into that trap. We all do it. We've all had those moments where we say, this is unfair, or I'll never make it. It feels good in the short term, like a release of frustration, but in the long run, complaining does nothing but reinforce a sense of helplessness. It convinces us that the circumstances around us have the power to define us, that we are merely victims of a world beyond our control. But that belief is the greatest illusion of all. If we take a step back and think about the times we've found ourselves complaining, we realize something powerful. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't improve the situation. It doesn't make us stronger or more capable. It simply keeps us stuck, focused on the problem instead of the solution. Successful people understand this fundamental truth. They choose not to complain because they know that energy is far better spent solving problems, not dwelling on them. Consider Thomas Edison, the man who brought the light bulb to life. Edison is often remembered for his perseverance, but what's even more remarkable is his mindset. He faced countless failures, over 1,000 attempts before he found the right formula. But never once did he complain. In fact, when asked about his failures, he famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." Edison didn't see obstacles as reasons to quit. He saw them as stepping stones, each one bringing him closer to success. His story isn't just about tenacity. It's about refusing to waste energy on complaint. He understood that every moment spent lamenting over failure was a moment lost to progress. Think about that for a moment. When we complain, we're not just venting our frustration, we're giving away our power. We're handing control of our future to circumstances, to people, to things beyond our influence. And the more we complain, the less we're able to create change. When we shift our focus from complaining to solving, we take back control. We move from being passive participants in our lives to becoming active creators of our outcomes. This shift is the essence of what successful people do. They don't waste time and energy blaming the world for their challenges. Instead, they find solutions, they adapt, and they keep moving forward. Think about the times when you've complained. How much time was spent fixating on the issue, rather than finding a way to overcome it? Now think about how much faster you would have moved forward if you had simply taken action, instead of dwelling on the problem. It's a powerful realization. Complaining can often feel like an act of defiance, a way to express frustration, but in reality it's a surrender. It's saying, I am at the mercy of this situation. The truly successful never give in to that temptation. They know that every moment spent complaining is a moment not spent growing, not spent moving toward what they want to achieve. They don't focus on what's wrong, they focus on what they can do to make things right. They don't allow external forces to control their minds. They choose to take responsibility, to find the answers and to act. Success isn't about waiting for things to change. It's about changing the way we approach the world, the way we see the challenges ahead of us. Instead of complaining, successful people create. Instead of surrendering to problems, they rise to meet them. And in doing so, they don't just change their circumstances, they change the very fabric of their lives. The words we speak to ourselves are more than just fleeting thoughts. They are the foundation of our reality. The internal dialogue we engage in, day in and day out, shapes who we become. It's easy to think of negative self-talk as a harmless habit, a momentary slip of the tongue in our minds, but in reality, it is a silent saboteur. It whispers things like, you're not good enough, you don't deserve success, or you can't do it. And before we know it, those words begin to define us. They begin to shape our belief in what is possible, what we deserve, and what we are capable of achieving. And when we believe those lies, we give them power over us. We allow them to dictate our actions, to control our decisions, and to limit our potential. Successful people, however, understand the power of their inner dialogue. They've learned that the way they talk to themselves directly impacts what they believe about themselves, and what they believe about themselves shapes what they can achieve. They've mastered the art of silencing those destructive thoughts, replacing them with empowering beliefs that fuel their journey rather than hold them back. Take Michael Jordan, for example. We know him as one of the greatest basketball players in history. But his path to success wasn't easy. Early in his career, he was cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine what would have happened if Jordan had allowed the voice of doubt to take hold of him. What if he had listened to that negative self-talk that said, you're not good enough, you'll never make it? He could have easily given up on his dream, believing that rejection was proof of his inadequacy. But he didn't. Instead, he used that rejection as fuel. It became the very reason he worked harder, pushed himself further, and never let anyone define his potential. Michael Jordan didn't let the words in his head dictate his fate. He chose to believe in his own capacity, even when no one else did. He avoided the trap of negative self-talk, and that choice made all the difference. The message here is powerful. What we say to ourselves, what we choose to believe about ourselves, has a profound impact on our journey. If Jordan had allowed that negative voice to win, the world would never have known his greatness. Negative self-talk is insidious. It's one of the most powerful ways we hold ourselves back, often without even realizing it. It's the inner critic that points out every flaw, every mistake, every reason why we shouldn't try. It's the voice that tells us we're not worthy, not capable, not deserving of success. But the truly successful people, the ones who rise above the challenges, who break through barriers, know that self-doubt is a part of the human experience. They know that everyone faces moments of uncertainty. But what they do with that doubt is what sets them apart. Instead of succumbing to the negative thoughts, successful people replace them with positive affirmations, with empowering beliefs that reinforce their potential. They reframe their failures as lessons, their setbacks as opportunities for growth. They don't allow negative self-talk to dictate their future. Instead, they take control of the narrative, shaping it in a way that empowers them to move forward with confidence. The truth is, negative self-talk doesn't just prevent us from reaching our goals, it holds us back from even trying. It creates a mental barrier, a glass ceiling that we believe is unbreakable. But the moment we decide to change the way we speak to ourselves, we shift our mindset. And when we shift our mindset, we open ourselves to possibilities that were once out of reach. It's not about eliminating self-doubt altogether, it's about learning to challenge it, to rise above it, and to replace it with a belief in our own potential. And that, more than anything, is what leads to success. Success is not born from comfort. It's not the result of playing it safe or taking the easy route. In fact, if you look closely, the most successful people are often the ones who take the biggest risks. They understand that growth isn't something that happens within the confines of what is known and predictable. Growth happens when you step into the unknown, when you dare to take that first step without a guarantee of what will come next. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating the perfect moment by embracing the uncertainty that surrounds us. Consider Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group. Branson is a man whose entire career is built on taking risks, from launching Virgin Airlines to attempting world record-breaking adventures in hot air balloons. He has consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible. His journey hasn't been one of sitting back and waiting for the stars to align. Instead, he has actively sought out opportunities by stepping outside of his comfort zone and taking risks that most people would shy away from. Every risk he took, every challenge he faced was a chance to innovate, to learn, and to grow. Each one led to a new venture, a new opportunity, and ultimately greater success. Branson didn't just wait for the perfect conditions to present themselves. He created his own conditions through bold action. When we play it safe, we are in essence limiting our potential. It feels like a protective measure, like a way to avoid failure, but in reality it is the surest way to ensure that we never achieve anything extraordinary. The truth is, growth doesn't happen within the walls of safety. It happens when we stretch beyond what we know, beyond what feels comfortable. Every time we choose the safe route, we limit the possibility of reaching something greater, something that requires us to venture into the unknown. Successful people know that uncertainty is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. They are comfortable with risk because they understand the inherent truth. Without risk, there can be no reward. The fear of failure is real, but it is not something that should hold us back. In fact, it's the very fuel that drives success. Failure is not the end. It's simply a step in the process of learning, of adapting, and of getting closer to where we want to be. The successful are not afraid to fail because they see failure as a necessary part of the journey. They know that every failure is one step closer to achieving greatness. Think about the moments in your own life when you played it safe. What did it cost you? What opportunities did you miss by staying within the comfort of what was familiar? Now think about the times when you stepped out, took a risk, and faced the unknown. Those are the moments when you learned the most, when you grew the most, and when you truly pushed yourself to achieve something you didn't think was possible. It's in those moments of uncertainty that we find our true potential. Success isn't a product of playing it safe, it's the result of having the courage to take risks, to step into the unknown, and to embrace the fear that comes with it. The most successful people in the world didn't wait for the perfect moment. They created it by taking action, by making decisions that pushed them outside of their comfort zones, and by refusing to let fear dictate their path. We often get caught up in the chase for success, convinced that the harder we work, the more we'll achieve. It's easy to think that pushing ourselves beyond our limits is the path to greatness. But here's the truth. Success without health is a hollow victory. If we sacrifice our well-being in the pursuit of our goals, we risk losing everything that truly matters. Our health is the foundation on which all success is built, and when we neglect it, the structure of our lives begins to crumble. Take Arianna Huffington, for example. In her early years, she was consumed by her work, always pushing herself to do more. She worked tirelessly, believing that if she just gave more of herself, success would follow. But then one day, it all came crashing down. She collapsed from exhaustion. That moment was a wake-up call. It was the moment when she realized that success isn't just about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about finding balance and taking care of the most important asset we have, ourselves. In the aftermath of that collapse, Arianna made a powerful change. She redefined what success meant to her. She started prioritizing her health, sleep, exercise, mindfulness, and as a result, her productivity and success skyrocketed. She wasn't just working harder anymore. She was working in a way that honored her body, her mind, and she understood that sustainable success doesn't come from overworking or burning out. It comes from finding a rhythm, from understanding that our health is the energy source that fuels everything else. The truth is, success is a marathon, not a sprint. We often forget this because the world tells us that we should be running at full speed all the time. But there's a difference between running at full speed and running at a pace that allows us to keep going, day after day without hitting a wall. If we neglect our health, that wall will inevitably come. Our bodies will break down, our minds will tire, and our spirit will falter. And in that moment, we'll realize that the very thing we neglected in the pursuit of success was the key to sustaining it. Successful people understand that health is non-negotiable. It's not something we put off or take for granted. It's a priority. They know that without the energy and vitality that come from a balanced life, nothing else truly matters. They invest in themselves, whether it's through exercise, proper rest, or practices that nurture their mental and emotional well-being. They understand that true success isn't just about what we achieve, it's about how we feel, how we show up, and how we're able to continue showing up for the long haul. When we take care of our health, we don't just improve our chances of success, we amplify them. We become more resilient, more focused, and more present. We can handle the challenges that come our way with a clear mind and a strong body. And when we find that balance, we unlock our true potential. The most successful people in the world know that taking care of their health isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. They've learned that neglecting their well-being only undermines their progress. By making health a priority, they set themselves up for lasting success, not just in their careers but in their lives as a whole. The message is clear. Success without health is not success at all. Take care of yourself because everything else depends on it. Conclusion: the road to success is often paved not by what we do, but by what we refuse to do. Successful people avoid procrastination, complaining, negative self-talk, playing it safe, and neglecting their health, because they understand that these habits steal from their potential. Instead, they focus on taking action, solving problems, believing in themselves, embracing risk, and prioritizing their well-being. If you want to reach your full potential, start by looking inward. Identify the habits that are holding you back and choose to let them go. Because success isn't just about what you do. It's about what you choose not to do. And when you make that choice, you're one step closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be.